All right, guys. All right, John Ray, relax. It's bloody like 1 minute in, and this guy's already like, where are you guys at? Well, this is, by the way, early compared to a lot of the times when we go live. Welcome here to Submission Radio, morning after live. I am excited to be here. Dennis Gradov here, and we have things to talk about, believe it or not. There's a bunch of stuff happening in the world of MMA, the crazy world of MMA. I have a huge episode ready to go for everybody here watching now. And I just want to quickly remind everybody as well, you guys enjoy Submission Radio. Please take a moment, become a member. Really helps out the show. Bunch of exclusive content coming your way, emojis, but also it supports the show. Also shout outs. We'll get into it right straight away. And you guys get mentions like Lazy Bed, which is a legend here of the program, a legend across all media spaces. Speaking of legends, let me introduce you to my guest here today. The guys joining me to really bring in this week in the sport of MMA, excited things up a little. You know, they're the little whiskey that you put into your coffee in the morning when it's time for another shift at the school and you've been working there for 30 years and you're a bit hungover and you hate your life, but they're there to make things better and they're here right now. First, I don't know what I'm talking about. First guy off the rank, you know him from his multiple appearances here on Submission Radio, absolutely slays it at MMA fighting, took a vacation, a well-deserved one. He came back. I want to know if he's still the same man that we knew before. Jed Meshew. Look at this new haircut. What kind of haircut?
Yeah.
What kind of vacation did you go on?
It's a golf trip with my boys. So there wasn't a lot of relaxation. Played a lot of golf. Got real drunk. And it was really hot, so I cut off my hair because it was really hot. And this is the world we live in now. And I'm excited to talk about, I don't know, what are we talking about? Usually, D, when we're doing this, you give me like some homework. You know, I gotta like, what are the top 3 and bottom 3 movies of X person's career? And then on this weekend, like, it's not like this is the post show for UFC 319 or whatever, where we've got things to talk about. There was nothing. There was no rubric to follow. It was just vibes. So what are we talking about today, man?
Well, listen, man, I had a big weekend, all right, and I'm just coming to it. So I don't even know. We'll see. Well, I've got some good things planned. I got some good feelings. And to kick things off, dude, what about this? Making his debut. He's wearing one of the worst T-shirts he could possibly wear on the show. At least it's not Collingwood Football Club, but he is wearing this one. His dad hails from Box Hill, which isn't far from here in Melbourne. You know him from the main card minute. You know him from his amazing work on Morning Kombat. He joins us here for the very, very first time. It's my pleasure to welcome Long Island Luke Noseda here to the program. Look at this. He doesn't back down. He doesn't back down.
Call me Geelong Island Luke on this show, all right? We're Cats fans in this family, all right? Let's go, Dennis. Appreciate you having me, buddy.
People are Long Island or in Geelong? I wonder. Hard to figure out. I'm kidding. There goes 50% of my demo. Guys, welcome to the program. There's so much to talk about. Well, there's things to talk about, and let's get into it. First things first, what about our boy Tatsuro getting the big submission win over the weekend? Impressing everybody out there on the social medias, talking about how this guy is a future champion. Jed, hit me with it. Were you impressed with what you saw? Does this guy look like someone that could be potentially fighting for a belt in his next few fights to you?
100%. But I've been saying that about Taira for like a long time. Basically, since he popped into the UFC, it was like, okay, this is Japan's best hope for a champion. Like this is the guy who will bring Japan a belt in the UFC in the modern era. And like, yeah, he lost to Brandon Royval. There's no shame in losing to Brandon Royval, especially because like Taira is still super young and, you know, he had moments. I know it was a split decision loss. Nobody should have scored that fight for Taira. He did not deserve to get a card, but like, that's one of those prospect losses that you don't take anything away from. You're not like, oh, he just doesn't have the goods. Like, yeah, the 24-year-old lost to the number 1 contender in a very scrappy fight. He's going to come back and be better. And then, you know, there were questions coming into this fight, right? Like he was a big favorite. I think most people still expected him to win, but how do you bounce back from a loss? Do you internalize that properly? Do you motivate that? Like, do you use that to motivate you? He said the right things about, and, you know, they talked about it in the buildup about, hey, I didn't really know how to be the face of Japanese MMA, how to sort of carry a nation on my shoulders. Now I'm learning that better. And then he came out and just dummied a guy who I think is talented in Hyun Sung Park. it would have gotten over more if this was Amir Albazi. Certainly, the last minute change, affected things. But look, there's no doubt in my mind that Tatsuro Taira will fight for the UFC title one day, and I feel pretty good about his chances to one day hold gold in a division that's full of rising talent too. Because Josh Van's super young, maybe he becomes your next champion. But there are a lot of other dudes right here in that thing that flyweight is on the rise in a major way, and it would not shock me at all if Taira gets the belt one day.
Another man that feels good about it, Luke, is Taira himself. Look at this little graphic here via MMA Fighting. I could say 100% my skill is higher than the champion. He's feeling good about himself, Luke. What do you think about that statement?
I mean, I think that statement's a little far-fetched.
100%, not 99, not 80, Jed. 100.
Yeah,
Taira, that's a bit high.
If Taira and Pantoja fight today, I think Pantoja probably finishes him within 3 rounds.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
All right. Well, I think so, because I'm like, dude, Taira to me is okay, he lost to Brandon Royval, and yeah, that's a good loss. I mean, was the #1 contender at the time. Obviously, he just lost to Josh Van, no longer. Now he's number 3. Okay. Not a bad loss whatsoever. You just beat Hyung-Sung Park, and no disrespect to Hyung-Sung Park. I bought into the hype going into this fight. I thought this guy might have a chance, but are we going to look back at this in 2 or 3 fights and be like, Hyung-Sung Park was never it? He should have never been fighting this level of competition. I kind of feel like I need to see Taira beat someone else in this top 5 before I can truly take him serious as a title contender. But he's still so young, dude, that obviously there's plenty of time for him to get a title shot in the future.
Man, such a Debbie Downer. I don't.
Dude,
he's got to beat somebody. Dude, he's 20
All right, so he's got
years there. Nobody's saying he I didn't say he beat freaking Pantoja, but I think Pantoja runs him over in 3 rounds is a pretty bold statement.
I don't
know, man.
That's if they fought today. Obviously, Pantoja's already 35 years old. He's only getting older as time goes on. Taira, not even hitting his prime yet. Obviously, in a year, I might think differently. I'm talking today.
That's still a bold statement for a dude who went hammer and tongs with Brandon Royval last year.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Well, hold on a sec. How do you think a fight goes between Pantoja and Taira?
I'm picking Pants to beat anybody at 125 if they fight tomorrow, but I think that fight is very competitive and fun. Pants is getting a little older. Pants is my currently ranked #1 pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. I'm not here to disrespect Pants, but the just sort of nonchalant way that Luke just no-sold Tatsuro Taira with the best. Literally the best performance of this young man's career in a bounce back win, and just sort of and he even acknowledged himself just now. He's I bought into the park, but actually fuck that. That win is meaningless. What are we doing here?
I mean,
you can give the man flowers for running over a dude.
All right, I'm giving him his flowers. It was a nice win. He got it done quickly. What was it, in under 7 minutes or whatever? Props to
those
the
that
man.
Watched it, yes.
But Hyung-Sung Park was supposed to fight Steve Erceg. How'd you guys think that fight was going to go? I'd argue Steve Erceg was going to win that fight. Now it's who is Hyung-Sung Park? You know what I mean? I don't know where I can really hold this win yet. It's just too early to tell.
I think he said within 3 rounds. Give the guy a break. 3 rounds. Yeah. That's almost like a whole fight with that if it's not championship. He's not saying he's going to dominate it for 3 rounds. Pantoja finds a way within the 3 rounds.
Taira needs to get it to the ground. I think Pantoja at this point in his career is well-rounded enough.
He's the #1 guy.
Do you think Taira needs to get it to the ground against Pantoja?
I do. I honestly do.
I think going to the ground against Pantoja is where everybody gets fucked up.
No, I agree. That's Pantoja's bread and butter. But I think at this point in his career, Pantoja is well-rounded enough where I'm I think Pantoja could win that fight wherever he needs to. And in this case, I think it would be on the feet.
I think the fight would be awesome. I don't think it should happen next. I know that Taira called for that. It could happen next after Van if Pants gets past Van. I don't think it should, but I think that fight would be incredibly fun because Tatsuro Taira is one of the 5 best flyweights on earth.
Yeah. I think let him build a little. We'll see what happens with Pants. By the way, we all think Pants is beating Van, right? Or is someone thinking Van's winning here?
In the dark, I'm picking Pants, but because you just should. I can't pick against him on the run right now, but
yeah,
Josh Van is a dude who will hold the belt at some point. That I feel pretty good about.
I just feel like Chance will take him down and win that fight.
Yeah. But dude, that's good though, right? We've got a couple of people in the division we could talk about finally, like outside of Pants. It's exciting. We've got Van, he's young. Taira's young. What about this other division, this featherweight division, right? Because we were supposed to see Mosar and Aaron Pico mix it up in Abu Dhabi. And now he's fighting Lauren Murphy at UFC 319. That's Aaron Pico. We don't know exactly what's happening with Mosar. The division is in an interesting place. Obviously, we got that Diego Gian Silva fight. What are we thinking? Jed, I want to go to you first. How are you feeling about what's next for Alex Volkanovski here? If you had to pick, is there a name that you think is going to edge themselves out in one of these potential matchups? Or do you think Mosar is still in the running here?
I think Mosar has the inside track right now because them pulling apart the Pico matchup, however, whatever the exact reasons that fell apart, unless Mosar is just like catastrophically injured for 9 months, the outcome that has always made sense that the UFC is like curiously just deeply uninterested in making is Mosar to fight him. Like it's the fight that needs to happen for Alexander Volkanovski to prove that he's the best featherweight on earth. Like that's the fight that must occur. And he is asked for it. Like he has said he thinks that it should happen. And instead we spent a lot of time dicking around with Yair for reasons that are known only to God and Dana White, I suppose. And so like, I think he's got the inside track, but that is far from like a clear and away locked in number one contender spot. If Aaron Pico just absolutely dummies Lerone Murphy, I could see him just getting thrown in there. If Lerone Murphy beats Aaron Pico, that's not happening. But also, like, depending on the timeline here and how late Volk's title defense gets pushed out, if John Silva just beats up Diego Lopez, like he's gonna get it. And so it's probably going to be a timing thing more than anything else, as is the way with the UFC in the modern era, which sucks shit. But I think Mosar is probably, if I had to put money down, he'd be my betting favorite right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting one though, right, Luke? Because it feels like there was some momentum behind Mosar, but then a couple of times wasn't really able to get to it. This last time, I think he was sick or something. Do we know what happened with him? Like, what did you hear, Luke? What do you have an inside track on Mosar?
I don't remember what even happened that he pulled out of this.
Just couldn't kind of fight, right? And he wanted to move it for a few weeks later or something.
Yeah, but I got to disagree with Jed here. If we're going like favorite to who's next for Volk, I feel like the UFC just like has something against Evloev. I'm not saying this is right. He should be next, but like for whatever reason, they would have given it to him already. I feel like they would have never booked the Pico matchup. They would have given it to him before Diego. You know, there's like all these scenarios where I feel like they would have given him the chance. I feel like Gian Silva, whatever his name is, he's got to be your number one guy here. If he beats Diego Lopez, they have to give him the title shot.
He's got to beat Lopez.
The clearest guy.
That's the big part. He has to beat Lopez.
The big if to me is obviously, yes, Jed, he has to beat Lopez, but also that fight's not till mid-September. There is a scenario in the next 6 weeks. They decide they need to book Volk and announce it. You know, he's fighting at MSG. We got to book it by September 1st or something.
I don't even think so anymore, though, Luke. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, and this is not reported or confirmed, but like the general rumor has been that MSG is going to be Jack versus Islam. Habib came out and said something earlier this week about that. There's not a planned pay-per-view in September, so they don't have it. October has Alex 2. Like there's
December
and Aspinall gone. Sorry, you've got 2 in October. So it's just like they don't really need anything until December. Right. And so it could be totally fine to just hang on and wait. And maybe that's what they're gonna do. Is like if John Silva beats him, we'll do that. If not, maybe it's Pico, maybe it's Mofsar. We'll just hold Alex for December.
But we're living in a world where Pico gets it done. We're living in a world where John Silva gets it done. What if Diego wins? What if Lerone Murphy wins? They're not giving it to Lerone. Then it's Mofsar. Or how about this? Aljamain Sterling's fighting Brian Ortega. You wouldn't have Aljo step in and fight Volk? Maybe, all right, maybe that's the Long Island in me talking, but I feel like that's a good fight, man. 2 former champs.
No chance.
Wait, hold on. So build your case, Luke. What is the Aljo Volk thing for you if you beat?
I mean, if we're talking rankings wise right now, Brian Ortega's number 4. Volk's already beaten numbers 2, 3, and 4. For whatever reason, they want Movsar. In my theory, they're not going to give Movsar the shot without getting another fight in. So while he's getting that other fight in, you now have Aljo beating, let's say, Ortega, presumably at the end of this month. Now you got 2 former champs going head to head. They were probably both top 5 pound for pound at some point in their reigns. So like, that to me is a fun fight, man. That's intriguing.
Dude who just lost to Movsar though. Like I just at some
Yeah, but
point, like
Diego has
basic
proven that doesn't
reason
matter.
has to.
Diego
At
has
some
proven that
point,
doesn't
basic
matter.
reason has to. Well, how's Diego proven that?
Because Diego lost to Movsar and they still gave him a title shot.
He didn't literally just lose to him. He lost to him 2 years ago and won 4 in a row.
They were both on a
that.
win streak, and arguably the next 2 guys.
There's a
and they were
huge
like, "Let's
difference
give it to
between
the guy."
winning 4 fights in a row, 3 performance bonuses and shit, and beating Brian goddamn Ortega.
I mean, dude, the
to
fact
get
that
a
Brian
title
Ortega
fight.
is ranked number 4 blows my mind. Like, I
was about to just say that.
High, but...
How is he ranked number 4?
Because he beat Yair.
And how is Yair number 3 still?
Doesn't make sense. There's a lot of things that are stupid and don't make sense in the UFC rankings. Honestly, you could convince me that what they should do is book Volk Movsar at MSG as the co-main and just bring Australia to New York in November, you know?
Yeah. Hey, that's a great fight. Also, for everybody at home, I think Sydney is due for a pay-per-view in February. I don't know if they can hold Volk for that long, but they got these deals or whatever here in Australia. So potentially they're just like, we'll just wait. To your point, Jed, we don't need it. December. Volk's been on a lot. Volk's been all over TV here in Australia. He's on another magazine cover. He's on a music video with one of the hot bands, the Hilltop Hoods, who one of them was on the show just this past week. He's everywhere right now, man. So I don't know if he's even in a rush to fight. But just quickly, we brought up those rankings. Have a look at these rankings. Sorry, Luke, it's just over your face. Can't move it. But got Mosar number 1. That makes sense. But look at that. You got Brian Ortega number 4. Arnold Allen, who I like. What is happening with him? Are we going to get him going soon?
Oh, he's doing classic Arnold things where he's hurt and fights once every 14 months.
Number 5. And then we've got Lorne Murphy, number 6. Lorne Murphy, if he beats Aaron Pico here, though, Jed, I mean, fans aren't big on it, but let's say he goes out there, he's able to actually have a performance the fans can get behind. Don't you think that could bring him back in a big way? Maybe one fight away from the title.
I mean, he's one fight away from the title based on ranking, but nope. This is a terrible fight for Lorne Murphy. Just straight up. Like it's like
3 weeks notice too.
If I was his management, I would be like, you shouldn't do this because you're gaining nothing, right? Like nobody wants to fight you. You're not interesting in the cage. Like I'm not going to pretend that he is a fun fighter. You're actively hurting your own chances to fight for the belt by being boring. And like, if you beat Aaron Pico, hardcore fans will respect that as a win, and casual people will be like, you beat a dude who's never fought in the UFC. We don't know. Sure, he looks great, but like, come on, who gives a shit? It's a thankless task. Like, unless he actually, for the first time in his career, decides to be like fun and exciting, this is a thankless task that he is, given himself. I guess he's a company man, but we all know how much that really holds water with the UFC. They're not going to do him any big favors for stepping in here. And so like if he wins, he still has to get somebody ranked above him to fight him and then hope that the chips fall right. Like he's just straight up on the Leon Edwards trajectory, like of all right, I'm going to have to win 1 million of them and hope that things break because people are never going to clamor for him to get a title fight.
Maybe you could throw like a head kick knockout or something like Edwards and claim some of the fans. This is what he said to me maybe about a month or so ago, and I asked him about why the fans are so down on him. And then I saw there was like, did you see there was like a little bit of pushback from some fans about you were so dominant, right after but for some reason it's like they almost took away from your performance in some kind of capacity.
Like, do you know one thing I've learned is like you can never please all the fans in it. You can never please them all because what they were saying before this fight was, I get hit too much, I get dropped. Josh Emmett's going to knock me out. So when I put on a defensive clinic against Josh Emmett and he can't even hit me, and I pick him apart, they then say, I'm boring. I don't push the pace, bro. I can't ever make him happy. And then I put on a war against Edson Barboza for 5 rounds. And like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm never going to make these fans happy.
Luke, how does Lorne Murphy make the fans happy? I feel for the guy, right?
I mean, I feel for him too. I was like one of those guys who was clamoring for Leon Edwards on his rise up. Like, how is this man not getting a title shot? He's earned it in every right. I don't yet feel that way about Lerone, but I mean, he's got to be easily the most underappreciated guy at featherweight. You asked Jed earlier, like, you think
Look at Jed's face.
you think he's one win away? Like,
Jed's face.
Jed is right though. The Pico win does absolutely nothing for him, which is kind of fucked up because you know damn well if Pico wins, he's getting a title shot. But they just kind of did that with Pitbull and Yair. I don't know, dude. I feel like Lerone's probably wins this in exciting fashion and then wins the next one in exciting fashion. Then he can get a title shot. Otherwise, he might be like 2 or 3 more top 5 wins away.
What's your advice to Murphy if he's watching this, Jed?
I would honestly just like to sit down and talk with him and be like, hey man, like, can we just have an honest assessment of your career? Because you're 34. Like, you don't have your window is closing. And like that, like the way he answered that question was just like exactly wrong. It was like, you can't please the fans. First they said I was going to get knocked out, and so I got defense. Do you think the fans were mad that you got hit? When has a fan base ever been upset that a fighter got punched? That's just like, no, they're upset because I credit to you, right? Like there's the one fight, you know, the billion strikes against Edson Barbosa. That was a great, fun performance, right? Like, nobody's saying that was bad, but the rest of your career has largely been uneventful decision wins. And like, that's just not how stardom in this sport works. That's not how you have to give fans something to gravitate towards. And like, professionalism is not a thing that sells in this business. And so like, I would just be like, hey man, you can do it. Some fighters have done this before. You know, Leon Edwards, Bilal Muhammad, like there are guys who have taken the long road. Sure is easier to not take the long road because one slip up and you're cooked. And at 34, if he loses, it's over. It is like his title aspirations are done. Never happening for him because he didn't shortcut his way up the mountain. And like I know that feels unfair and that this should be a meritocracy where the best guys get the best opportunities. But look at Movsar Evloev isn't even boring. He's been in pretty good fights for much of his career.
Dana White said he's boring.
Certainly had some stinkers, but Dana said he was boring after the Arnold Allen fight, which was a fun fight. Like nobody thought that fight was boring.
Yeah, he mixed them up.
Yeah, like he's had some stinkers, and look at the trajectory he is having to fight against. Like you gotta just try to be interesting. You have to try to be interesting, or you got to be perfect for a really long time. That's really hard to do in a good weight class. And so like if he fucks up against Pico, it's over. And if he beats Pico, I said, he's not there. So he needs to come out and try and beat Pico and be entertaining to make people care about him.
But hold on, if Pico beats him, he could get the title shot.
For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
People like Pico. Pico has a brand.
100% Volk would just be like, yeah, Pico, just give him to me. I think he's got an eye injury, actually. People in the comments reminding me. Joe Lopez did tell me he still couldn't see straight for a while. So he's still trying to get that figured out after the Lopez fight. But he'd want to be back in there, I reckon, around December, February, January. And that's a good fight. Pico, Volk. And then, yeah, Mosa, we'll see what happens with that. Let me ask you guys about this then. While we're booking divisions, 155. You guys all saw the interview with Dan Hooker last week on Submission Radio where he called out Arman. He wants to fight Arman, which is very admirable. Not many people do. He spoke about how the UFC took away his tickets and that whole schmozzle there. But with Dan Hooker sort of wanting to come back in November, potentially fight Arman, I want to get your take, fellas. We got Arman, Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, Paddy Pimblett, and Max Holloway, who looks like he's going to be out till the start of next year with the BMF title. He just said he's got a hand injury. Jed, I want to go to you first. If you were to book, let's say, the title shot, and then underneath that, the co-main that leads to a title shot, and if you want to throw in the BMF belt there after that, how would you go about booking this division right now?
Do you want how it's going to get booked or how I would do it if I was in charge?
I want to hear how you're going to do it, and then I want to tell, and then I want to hear Luke, and then you can tell us what's really going to happen.
Okay, how I would do it is Ilya Topuria would fight Arman Tsarukyan because they're the two best lightweights on the planet. or the two best guys currently competing in the lightweight division, or at least in the conversation. Certainly, Ilya has one win, but it was a really good one. So that would be the title fight that I would book. The contender matchup that I would book, the co-main / if something happens to the main event and you can plug one of these guys in, give me Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett or Dan Hooker would be fine. Either does not matter to me, frankly. And then Max is fighting Charles Oliveira come hell or high water. Don't really care. Just put those two dudes in there. They need to actually have a fist fight as opposed to the weirdness that happened the first time around.
That's very good booking. What do you think, Luke? What would that be similar in your card?
Yeah, I literally booked the entire top 16 if you include the champ, and those are the first 3 fights I had for sure. Dan Hooker, though, I'm gonna save the Gaethje versus Paddy. I'm gonna give Hooker to Fiziev, Rafael Fiziev. I feel like that would be a fun fight.
Dan.
Well, dude, that's a banger fight for Dan. Gets him back in the mix. We see what happens.
Man, no one. I love Fiziev.
Dan should not take that fight if they offered
Come on,
to
man.
him.
The guy put all that blood, sweat, and tears into the UFC, and
I
feel like
love the
deserves a big
Hangman,
name.
but like I feel like Gaethje Paddy is the rightful #1 contender fight. So like it leaves Dan in limbo. You got to fight someone to kind of stay relevant there. So give him to Fiziev. I did Gamrot versus Grant Dawson because we both know they're just going to wrestle, and that could create for some fun scrambles there. Otherwise, they're just gonna wrestle your favorite fighter, and it's not going to be a fun fight.
What about Beneil? Who'd you have him fighting?
Beneil, I got Joel Alvarez with the caveat that is Joel Alvarez moving up to welterweight? I don't know. He says he is all the time. They still have him ranked 15 in lightweight, but I feel like that's the perfect fight for both guys because like Beneil's one of those tough veterans, dude, where like win or lose, you don't really lose. Like Joel Alvarez, if he loses to Beneil right now, people aren't going to write off Joel Alvarez. He could still bounce back and one day, fight for a title. If Beneil wins, it's like, damn, he just beat that killer, that guy coming through. That's a nice win for Beneil back to back after Moicano. I mean, I like that. And then Moicano Chandler, just because they're both kind of lost a couple in a row, need a nice bounce back. Both have a name, but.
That's an interesting one right there. I gotta it's interesting because Jed, actually, I'm going to leave it because you just told us what you think should happen. Now tell us what's really going to happen.
Ilya's going to fight Paddy. If he doesn't, the promotion's dumb. Like, just make that fight. It was already set up. Paddy came into the cage. There's heat there. If you don't do it now, you very well may never get that fight again. But one would be upset.
Saying Gaethje. Everyone is saying Gaethje. Everyone I speak to is like, that was a mistake. It's going to be Gaethje. It's Gaethje.
Yeah, that sounds very like there's probably not 10 bigger Justin Gaethje fans on this earth than me. He just lost to Max last year, and if you gave him a title fight, no one would be upset. But he just doesn't really deserve it. Like, it's not there. Paddy doesn't either, but Paddy's bigger business and makes sense for the stories that are being told right now. So you do Paddy versus Ilya. Gaethje, honestly, actually just put Gaethje against, I said this at the time, Gaethje taking the Fiziev fight was really good on him, but like when he wins, he's just going to have to fight Dan Hooker again. I think he's just going to have to fight Dan Hooker again. Because that fight will be awesome and then that can be a title eliminator or whatever. And so you just put those two dudes together. And I'm sorry for Armin, who continues to be shit out of luck, but like Armin is maybe Armin gets better than this, but like Armin should have just fought Gamrot forever ago.
100%.
I know he doesn't want to because like he's a dumbass, just straight up. Like every time he's spoken about it in an interview, I'm like, oh, you're stupid. Got it. Where he's like, I only want to fight top guys, blah, blah, blah. I deserve it. Like, dude, you lost to him and people thought you won, but you fucked up. You blew your weight cut. You couldn't make it to the fight. You got to get one. Fight this dude who got a story with, theoretically you should beat, and then it's over. So there's like, I think that's kind of the lay of the land I see moving forward. And Max fights Charles.
What do you think, Luke? You agree with that?
I agree with that, except for the fact that give me Gaethje Dan Hooker. We had that fight booked. Let's rebook that shit instead. And then just to give Paddy to Ilya, that's probably likely, as much as I hate that. And who does Armin fight?
Gamrot. He just fights Gamrot.
Well, what about this? What about this Dan Hooker Armin fight, right? Like, I think Justin Gaethje said if he's not getting the title shot, he's going to leave town or whatever. And if that does happen, Jed, like, how would you feel if Dan and Armin actually fought on this November pay-per-view in New York? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of bad blood there. For Dan, beating Armin gets him straight back in there. For Armin, Dan's, like, not a bad name on the way back to a title shot. Does make sense, No?
Look, I think the fight would be fine. Like that. If he can get it, that's okay, and he's probably going to win that fight. But like, he just has to physically fight a human being, and he should do it sooner rather than later. Because the more he waits around, like, he's not getting Ilya. They're just not going to let Armin fight Ilya up next. So he just fight a human, any of them, any human at all, and that is like what he needs to be done. But he has like really confused ideas about this game. He's like, I don't fight for money. I'm fighting to be I already know I can beat everybody. So I just want to fight to prove I'm the best. Like, okay, if you beat everybody, just go whip Gamrot's ass real fast. And then you can fight for the belt, my guy. But like this, I'm number one. And so I will only fight you if you're number 4 or better, is like, what the shit are we doing? Like, even if that kind of like maybe works out for you, in the history of the sport, has that ever been like something a beloved fighter has done? Do people laud Max Holloway because he is like, actually, I'm the number 1 contender, and fuck off if I'm going to fight Arnold Allen or Calvin Kattar? They can suck my dick because they don't have a high enough number. No, like, make fans by just saying, yeah, I'll whip that dude's ass and then I'll go handle up with Ilya.
Is Armin the toughest test for Ilya, in your opinion, in lightweight, Luke?
I do. I think that the wrestling there is so interesting to me. The same thing that, like, I feel like Jed's going to hate this because I know he hates this person, but the same thing I thought in the Bryce Mitchell Ilya fight, where it's like, oh shit, let's see how Ilya looks on the ground. He raves about how good he is on the ground and all this, but like, I feel like we still never really seen it too much. Armin, to me, is the perfect fight. Put him on his back. Let's see what he can do off of his back. And if he's that good and he beats Armin, maybe I'll finally hop on the Luke Thomas Ilya train. But for now, I feel like I'm doubting that guy every chance he goes. I don't know.
Yeah, he's been hanging out with the Nelk boy, so I'm sure Luke Thomas isn't the biggest fan of Ilya doing that.
I just have to not pay attention to Ilya outside of the cage. That's the determination
that's exactly
I've had to make.
Yeah.
I had to just block Ilya's name outside of the actual days when he fights, and then it's great because he's phenomenal.
Another man wanting to fight for the BMF title is this man right here. He's been talking about a return to the UFC for a while. MMA Junkie graphic there, as Nate Diaz says, this guy's cool, but he keeps wearing my belt. Jed, would you be opposed to Nate Diaz coming back for this BMF title fight against Max Holloway if Charles Oliveira isn't going to be the next guy at the start of next year?
There are worse things that they could do. I don't really, I know that this is a foolish hope. I don't really need to see Nate fight anymore. He's 40. He's fought a lot. I would be comfortable if, like, he's clearly not remotely near his best anymore. I would be cool if he would just like eased on into retirement and whatever is next for him. But if he's going to come back and do an MMA fight, I always thought that they could have done that for Poirier's retirement fight. They obviously didn't pull that off. I would be like grotesquely interested in that fight because Max is certainly a substantially better fighter than Nate currently and at any point in their careers functionally. But Nate's a lot bigger than Max. And so like, I would at least be kind of interested to just sort of see how that goes. And like, Nate'll stand in the middle and do the point down thing. So if that happened, I don't think anybody should be upset if that happens. I don't think it's likely, but I could easily start selling myself on that being a fun thing.
I think, yeah. And it's like these two guys, they've kind of been circling around each other. The fans love them both. It could be like an interesting, fun BMF title fight if, Charles Oliveira isn't available. Luke, would you like to see Nate Diaz come back to the UFC and have one more crack, maybe do this BMF thing? Or are you signed up to this McGregor trilogy potentially?
No, see, I'm glad you brought that up because I was just going to say, everyone always talks about, oh, they always have the McGregor trilogy in their back pocket. Am I the only one who doesn't give a fuck about that fight? Like, I really do not care about McGregor Diaz 3. Jed, you kind of just sold me on Diaz Holloway. I went
It's
into
kind of
that being like,
interesting.
absolutely not. But the more you talked about it, I'm like, all right, he kind of has a point. This actually would be kind of fun. I still like it's option F on my list. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many better things we can do with Max than have him fight Nate Diaz. But guess it's not
Here's
the
the
worst.
thing. I don't even think I'm not sure that's true though. Because like when this first populated, I had the same reaction. I was like, what? No, this is dumb. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, I I know people really want a Max Holloway like a lightweight title run to be a thing. It's not a thing, and we shouldn't believe it. Like it's like Ilya gassed him up like that, and Ilya's the champ now. It would go worse for him, straight up. Like it would not go as well as the first one went for Max. And so, like as long as Ilya's holding the belt, and it seems like he's likely to do so, Max is like he's had such a unique career because we should all be like, yes, Max is now in fun fight territory and he's holding the BMF belt, which is kind of perfect for like fun fight territory. But then you look and you're like, actually, he's still only 33 years old. Maybe he's got a run in him. You're like, no, he hasn't had a real run in him in 7 years because Volk just had his number or whatever. And so,
Yes.
like, I want us to all just be on the same page of like, Max is not a lightweight. Max is the BMF champion. And like a lot of people are not on that page because he beat Dustin Poirier and knocked out Justin Gaethje and like is a top 5 lightweight. It's like we could all just ignore that and just be like, he's got his own belt. He's doing his own thing. Let's do fun things with other fighters who aren't in the traditional flow of the divisional title chase. And like Nate's kind of perfect for that of like, all right, this is a little weird. And like all BMF fights should also kind of be a little weird too. And so like I kind of think it would be perfect. And then once you have that, then you can do Nate Connor. Connor has 2 fights left. If he ever fights again, I've been so skeptical at all. But if Nate comes back, they would do that. And so, you know, you can go to the Nate Connor thing. It doesn't have to be the first fight back for Nate. I'm kind of in on this if Nate actually would come back.
Yeah, for sure. Like Luke, you can imagine a scenario where Nate loses to Max Holloway, and then it's like throw him in there against this guy right here. Maybe he'll have a good shot. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, people are like, well, Nate just lost. Throw him in there. It's like I feel like we almost need to see someone lose first before putting them up against Conor McGregor for us to believe Conor's got a shot, right, Luke? Like, do you get that feeling from fans? Like, we don't want to see some one-sided beatdown happen again to Conor.
That's very true. I mean, in all honesty, the Michael Chandler fight has never been more interesting as far as I'm concerned in Conor's relation. Not that I want them to book that again, but like when they booked that, I thought Chandler was going to run through him. Now I'm like, oh, that actually might be more competitive than we thought. I don't know.
I've never been a Conor McGregor believer. I am
you're
a
also not a
huge not
Chandler.
believer in Chandler. That fight was always competitive. Like I think that if I'm the UFC, I'm like, all right, I don't know how we make it happen, but we book Conor Chandler, we book Nate Max, and then we book Conor versus Nate 3, and then Conor can go be BMF player coach or whatever. You know, we'll finally wring all the juice that we can out of this one.
I'll tell you what.
Except Conor's never fighting again, so.
True.
You could do Max Nate, then Max beats Nate, and then you could be like, all right, we'll do Max Connor if Nate doesn't take the deal that we give Nate, right? Like use him as a bargaining chip. That UFC loves to.
They
UFC
sure
loves
do.
to do that. If Alex Pereira would have beaten Ankalaev, we all know that this whole John Jones thing would have been different, right? They would have had someone in the bargaining thing to be like, all right, well, John, if you're not going to fight Tom, we're just going to give it to Al. You know what I mean? They didn't have anything like that. So they love to have that kind of stuff. But just quickly, Jed, do you think this guy fights again?
No, he's not fighting again. I've been pretty clear on my belief of that for well over 2 years. I thought briefly, like I was like, if he's going to fight, it's after he got held liable for rape. I was like, then he might fight again because the way to get people to forget your horrible legal issues is to do the thing that they loved you for in the first place. But I also just forgot that we live in a society that just functions doesn't give a shit. So nobody's mad at him about this. He doesn't have to fight. So he's not going to fight because fighting is hard. It's a hard thing to do. Like you have to train and make weight and show up. And he has hundreds of millions of dollars. Why would he do it?
Luke, you think he comes back?
No. And my claim to fame is when they booked the Chandler fight 2-3 years, whenever the hell that was, I said, I still don't believe this fight is happening until they walk into the cage, and it obviously never happened. So I've been saying for years now that McGregor's never coming back, and I stand by that. So
I find it sad because if anybody watched the Conor McGregor documentaries on Netflix, you could tell that this guy's training has been terribly like obviously outside the octagon, a lot of stuff happened, but his training specifically has been horribly mismanaged in the second part of his career. He would just do stupid things like spar people for no reason nonstop and just get injured over and over and over. And I know like Casper and I, we did a tour with John Kavanagh here in Australia, like a stage tour. We would interview John Kavanagh on stage and stuff. And yeah, like no one could tell the guy what to do. And now his body's decrepit, right? Like he can't even train. I don't know.
it's wild.
I know you're laughing at me, Jed, but just from the sporting side of things.
I'm not. Right outside my window, there's a squirrel who is in like a little small Cheetos bag, and it's stuck on its head, and it's jumping around, and it's incredibly amusing to watch.
All right. Well, do you have your phone there? Get a video and send it over to me. I'll put it on the show. While you do that, guys, a couple of quick mentions before we go through to talking about the main event this coming weekend, and that is a big announcement. Well, an announcement for Perth, right? We thought it could be a number of things. Dan Hooker couldn't do it, and now it's going to be Carlos Ulberg versus Dominic Reyes. Luke, Jed's partner Mike Heck believes there's a Dominic Reyes resurgence on its way, potentially a title shot around the corner. Carlos Ulberg, though, a tough and tricky test for Dominic Reyes. Do you think he can keep this thing going? Do you think he could beat Carlos Ulberg in Perth and find himself fighting for the belt?
No, I mean, I got to give Dom Reyes a shout out. He did go to Stony Brook University on Long Island here. I mean, he's an adoptive Long Island guy. But,
what did he study?
I don't know. I think he played football there. He probably didn't study anything.
Do you guys have a good football team there?
He definitely played football there.
They're D1, but they're not like, they're in like a weird thing. Yeah, we'll call them decent. I don't know.
Yeah. Basically, encapsulates Dominic Reyes' career. That
pretty much.
Football teams run in the team.
I feel like
Carlos
is going to run through him here, dude. I feel like I've doubted Carlos Ulberg a lot of this way, especially like, who did he just fight? Jan Blachowicz. I was like, Jan's going to get it done here. I don't think Carlos is as good as we've been thinking. But Dom Reyes, to me, I mean, this run is fluky as hell. I feel like I got to pull it up right now. I don't know off the top of my head. Who did he just beat? Nikita Krylov, right?
Let me get it up here.
He's the first guy to ever knock out Krylov.
All right, Nikita Krylov, Anthony Smith, and Dustin Jacoby.
That's the legend, Anthony Smith. Did you not watch UFC Kansas City?
I mean, dude,
legend.
Okay, sure, legend. Justin Jacoby had lost 3 of 4 going into their fight. Anthony Smith, we obviously know, was not on a good streak going into that. And Nikita Krylov, I just mentioned, been knocked out a few times in a row. Just feel like this Dom Reyes run is so damn fluky, whereas Ulberg's actually beating legit guys, and he's beating them. I don't want to say convincingly. He's kind of outpointing them, but either way, it's convincing enough for me. I got to go with Ulberg.
Dude, Krylov just lost another fight as well. I just had a look. I'm like, yeah, he just fought, and he just
sure
got knocked out first round as well.
Bogdan Guskov, baby, let's go. No ho Hank in this bitch.
Jed, what do you think? Can this fairy tale Mike Heck situation happen? It's between this and Derek Lewis fighting for the belt for him.
I think the fairy tale can happen. I'll probably be picking Ulberg because like that's just the smart money move. But I don't know. I know Jan Blachowicz is a really hard dude to look good against. Like he is impossible to like really look good against unless you're Glover and just tackle his ass. But like Ulberg looked so bad in that fight that I'm like, I don't know. Why can't Dom Reyes, feel the touch of inspiration, divine godly powers, and just knock his ass out? He might as well. Like that could happen. It's light heavyweight. Almost every fighter in this weight class is terrible. So I would not be massively confident in either side, frankly.
It's an interesting one for Perth. I mean, for Ulberg here, what's on the line, Luke, if he beats Dom Reyes?
Got to be a title shot, right? I mean, winner of Ankalaev, Pereira.
You do have Yuri and
I was just gonna say you do have Yuri Khalil, but like, when is that fight? Is that on the same timeline?
Isn't it on the same card as the title fight? UFC.
Oh shit, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's on October 4th.
Let me have a look here. Yeah, it's it. it's that card that everyone's kind of excited
It
about.
sure is. It is
All right.
October 4th.
All right. So then, well,
so I mean that's set up to be the in case something happens, step in moment.
if Poetan wins, though, I think that actually opens the door for Olberg here, because you're not going to do Yuri Poetan 3.
Yes.
And you can do Yuri Khalil 2, but I'd rather just see a new contender get in there with Olberg. If Ankalaev wins, that obviously changes everything. Any of those guys could get the shot, but
I actually think, now that I'm thinking about this, Olberg's screwed. Like unless he is just the benefit of good timing. Because if Alex wins,
Yeah.
they're gonna do Alex Tom. Like they'd have to do Alex Tom at that point. So
Oh, dude, they would cash
I
in.
don't think
They would cash out, don't you think, Luke? Like, wouldn't the UFC just
got
like,
to
all right,
cash those chips, baby.
He won. We got our star back. Let's get him the fuck out of this division before things fuck up again and someone like Olberg comes in and beats him. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's get him at the heavyweight. Then he can lose a few times. Who cares? He's
I guess
a middleweight, really.
If he has a belt and moves up, it's obviously way more intriguing for them. But at the same time, I wouldn't have even why are you even booking the Ankalaev fight? We need someone for Tom to fight now. Have him move up and fight Tom. Like, if that was
my understanding is because Alex really wanted it. That is like what I'm hearing. Alex like really wanted to beat Magomed because he believes he can. I don't know if that's true or not, but like that's sort of what I've heard. Which seems dumb as shit to me, man. Should have gone and fought Tom. But like also silly. Maybe Alex is just silly. Like, actually Tom would pretty obviously beat the shit out of me, so I should try and get this belt back. I don't know.
True. But
I think the UFC, if they don't, it's insane to not cash out if Alex gets the belt back. Because they're not running a trilogy. They're gonna bury Magomed head. So
true.
Yeah, like cash out. And then I guess if they really cash out, you can have Olberg fight Yuri for an interim title or something.
Yeah, it's an interesting one as well because, like, if Alex, exactly, interim title on Ankalaev. If it's a close one, Alex could just leave, and then Ankalaev could get an interim shot against the winner of Yuri and Khalil. But by the way, like Yuri and Khalil and Alex, that was a fun fight. I could see maybe the UFC going for that. Yuri and Alex, maybe. Olberg and Alex, I don't see as much though. I feel like they're like that. That's not worth the risk for us. Maybe, I don't know.
Yuri and Alex has to be out the window, though. Like, Yuri's been finished by him twice. They can't run that back.
Very likely out the window.
Yeah. As fun as those fights were. But
speaking of things coming up as well, you mentioned it earlier, Jed Khabib spoiling the news about the big fight at Islam Makhachev taking on JDM, UFC 322. Now, I don't know how legit this is. He just said that this was promised to us.
Be quiet.
Basically, he just says that it's owed to them and it's going to happen. Hopefully it does happen. I'd love to see the boys mix it up at MSG. But just if it is real, if Islam is fighting JDM next in New York, I just want to go to both of you fellas first, get your feel on who you think's going to win before we even break it all down. Jed, Islam, JDM, tough fight for Islam. Are you backing Islam to win this welterweight belt and sort of add to his legacy, or do you think JDM is the dark horse that people aren't really considering in this matchup as much as they should?
JDM has a chance, but I'm going to pick Islam. He's the he is the best pound for pound fighter in the world, and uniquely might be the best fighter ever for like fans to just widely disregard him entirely. It is a wild like juxtaposition between how fans should view him and like how they do view him.
What about you, Luke? How are you feeling about this matchup?
I agree with that, and I hate to even like diss JDM at all, especially on a lovely Australian program like this, Dennis. But
thank you, lovely.
Islam Makhachev is the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world. The fact that people were even saying that like Ilya is gonna win against Islam to me is like not laughable, but like I'm taking Islam all day against pretty much anyone on the roster.
In the general vicinity of his weight class.
Literally anyone he's training with, anything. So yeah. It's not going to be a fun night for JDM, unfortunately, but will be a fun night at MSG, I hope.
Well, speaking of fight nights, fellas, I mean, this weekend we've got another fun event happening. Not as fun as last weekend, but certainly a little bit more fun. and a little bit more exciting. In the main event, obviously, we got Fluffy and Diaz. An interesting matchup in the middleweight division. I feel like we've got a lot of interesting matchups in the middleweight division lately between RDR, Robert Whittaker. Obviously, this matchup, Jared Cannonier MVP is going to be a weird one. And then, of course, we've got the big title match between DDP and Hamzat. We got Paulo Costa. He's floating around from his last win as well. He's going to be there trying to get some kind of fight happening as well. I'll go to you first, Luke. How important do you think or pivotal is this fight to what's happening to the title picture? Like, let's say, Lide gets knocked out in a shocking fashion in the first round come this weekend. What happens then to the title discussion?
I think both these guys are a little too far out from the title discussion. I think they could be one fight away if they get a solid win here. I don't know what their deal is with Anthony Hernandez. The dude is one of the most exciting fighters on the roster. He's a finisher, all this. For whatever reason, they never book him any higher. He fought Brendan Allen in his last fight, who's ranked number 11. Fluffy's ranked number 10, and now he's fighting number 9. You couldn't give this man a little step up in competition. Poor guy, but I don't think either Diaz winning or Fluffy winning really moves either guy. You got Cannonier fighting MVP. You got Imavov fighting Bohalia. Yeah, there's just too many other good matchups going on in the division where he's going to be taking a seat, or winner's going to be taking a seat back to that.
Jed, explain to me this MVP Cannonier thing. If you're the UFC, you're like, all right, we got MVP, welterweight, forget about it. We got so many contenders. We got contenders basically for the next 3 years already ready to go. We've got heaps of money that we're spending on MVP. Why don't we just throw them up against Cannonier? People seem to get title shots eventually after that. Is that their thinking? Let's make the most money we can from this MVP thing? Or break this down for me.
I think it's just we was talking earlier about the fun fight territory. This is just the lowest tier of fun fight, because MVP is not fighting for a belt and Cannonier's never fighting for a belt again. And you're just I don't know, Cannonier has been oddly good at sort of staving. They tried to do the let's build up, RoboCop against Jared Cannonier, and he can move in. And then Jared Cannonier was like, fuck that. I'm still here. And so it's okay, well, I don't know let's have some fun. Who's the other rising middleweight that they should give him? Bo Nickel just got his ass beat by RDR. They're you can't do it with these people. So it's just okay, let's throw in. We don't have anything to do with either of these two dudes, and it might be kind of fun. Sure. I think it's totally fine matchmaking that has no end point. Nobody's advancing majorly with a win here.
Yeah, it's funny because he was on the show a few days ago, and I was like, what's the deal with the rumors? Were they going to cut you if you didn't take this fight? He basically confirmed that he didn't want to take this fight, and they're tough titties, I fucked her too. You take the fight. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not... it doesn't hurt for Jared Cannonier to go out there and beat the crap out of MVP, right?
Doesn't hurt at all.
Yeah.
And if MVP does beat him, then shit, maybe you can throw MVP in there against Izzy or something and just see what happens.
They're boys. What about Whittaker, though?
Oh, they are boys. You do Whittaker, sure.
That's fun to me.
Yeah, Costa's floating around there somewhere as well. By the way, where are we putting Costa next? Surely he's not getting a fight. He's not getting a title fight, Jed.
Costa, I would say it's non-zero if Hamzat wins. I wouldn't say it's likely, but it's non-zero if Hamzat beats CDP. I think there's a fair chance he gets RDR, because what should happen is Fluffy should get RDR after he wins this weekend. But as Luke pointed out, Fluffy is going to beat Roman Diaz, and then he'll fight Jared Cannonier, because he is literally climbing up the ladder one rung at a time. And so Costa versus RDR, Costa's already kind of thrown that out as a thing. And then that sort of is a viable title eliminator between the two of them, while the rest of, Nasruddin Imavov, Kyle Bahalio settles up. So if I was guessing, I'd say Costa's getting RDR next. But in my perfect world, RDR fights Dricus du Plessis after DDP defends the belt, and we just make that fight happen, and I'll be the happiest boy.
Well, dude, RDR fought 4 times, and I think the UFC just likes having a guy that could fight all the time. That just proves, from Israel Adesanya to Hamzat himself, if you're active and if you can fight, if you can win, the UFC is going to slot you in there. What do you think, Luke? You want to see this? You think Paulo Costa can? Is he actually going to be at the event? I don't know. This whole thing is going to be...
I like Jed's scenario where DDP wins, you do RDR DDP, and now that leaves the Hamzat Paulo Costa matchup right there on the table. But also,
I feel like
and maybe this is
might
going
retire or something if he loses. I don't know.
he might. This is going against rooting for Paulo Costa kind of thing, but dude, I love the Izzy rematch. Izzy Paulo Costa too.
Yeah.
It's a perfect bounce back fight for Izzy. Keeps him relevant, keeps him there. I know he wants to rematch Sean Strickland. I don't know if anyone wants to see that fight again. Also, like, you lost the first time. There's no guarantee you're gonna win the second time. Like, I don't
You
know.
would
I just
almost
feel like
certainly lose the second time. That'd be
yeah. So
tough.
like, take the
I feel like
Paulo
it'd be a
fight.
good warm-up thing, and it's good for Paulo to sort of right the wrongs of the past. Whereas, also, I think Strickland might be suspended for a little bit. I don't know.
Well,
when-
that's
He's
great.
sussied right now. He's probably going to be out for the remainder of the year, would be my guess.
Then that's the fight, man. Just do this Paulo Costa thing somewhere over there in the Emirates. All right, just quickly, a couple of comments here from the fans. Lazy Bed, best lineup of all time. The boys, I'm happy. Thank you for joining us. People are loving this
Let's
lineup,
go,
fellas.
Lazy. Let's go.
John Ray, thoughts on next week's banger of a card? And also, Dennis, are you the Australian ball bag? I've heard. No. But I do live in Australia. That's a reference to the morning combat.
You are
intro.
an Australian ball
Did
bag.
they think you
I
were
am
my
an
dad?
Australian.
They're like,
How old do you think I am, John? God
Yeah.
damn it. Hey, we spoke about the main event on this card, but is there anything else that we're interested about from this card? Steve Ercik is finally back. It'll be interesting to see him do his thing. Got Andre Philly here. Eric Anders here.
This card sucks. And when you earlier were like, this card might be more exciting than this past weekend, I wanted to fight you. It's like last week, like this
It's
past
the bigger
Sat-
main
like,
event. Bigger
yesterday's
main event.
card, yeah, sure, it's the bigger
Yeah.
main event. Yesterday's card, I was like actively interested in. I'm not here to tell you that like it was great and you should have stayed home to watch that, but like by my count, there are 4 fighters who will like very likely, or at least very possibly, fight for a belt on that card. And there were 2 fight of the years. Like that's as good an Apex card as you could ever hope for. Next week's card is trash and a half.
I will say
it's got a main event and then mostly Garbo.
yesterday panned out nicely. Yesterday's card, this weekend's card, like it on paper was definitely worse than this is on paper, though. This is a better card on paper. It might not play out.
No
that
chance.
Way. I think so, dude. This
Dude,
main card.
No, because the main card yesterday, like it shot high, right? For sure. Like you can't
delivered, yeah.
You can't expect 2 fight of the year contenders. But I think everybody who knows anything was like, Duncan Rebetsky is going to be really fun. Ribovic Brenner is going to be insane. And Danny Silva versus Kevin Vallejos is going to be a really good fight. Like, and all of them, they delivered to the max. But like, dude,
Yeah, but
why
you
the
were more.
fuck
You
do
were
I
hyped,
care about Angela Hill, Yasmin Lucindo?
well,
in the
you were
year of our
hyped for
Lord 2025?
You were hyped for Carol Hosa, Nora Cornell yesterday. I mean,
I wasn't hyped, but that's 2 ranked fighters, which this card doesn't have other than the
Lucindo
main
and-
event.
Like people know
Angela
who
Hill are
Angelina
both
Hill is. They know.
Yeah,
who
Oh
they're
my
both
God.
ranked.
I can't believe Angela Hill's still ranked.
If anybody knows anything, dude, people don't even
How
know
is
that
Angela
fights
Hill
were
still
on.
ranked?
Because
I
she
know, but
got
people
two
know
wins in a
her.
row. She's
People
on a
know
mission.
her, brother. People know her. God,
Dude.
All right, just quickly.
Miles John G. Matsumoto's dope fight. Andre Philly, C-Rod might be okay. Eric Anders is fighting. That's a miserable
that's a bad
experience.
fight.
Julius
That's a bad
Walker's fighting. That's a miserable
It's
experience.
good to see Erceg back.
Yeah, I'm hyped for that.
Astro Boy.
Or, I mean, that fight would be, if it was still what it was, the Hyunsung Park, I would much prefer that. But like, it is what it is. This card, I think last week's card is like, or yesterday's card is to me like, on heading into it, I was much higher than most people. I think it's absolutely better than this upcoming week's card.
No,
Jed, get off the drink. All right, Bong Island Lude and Jed together. And so wake me up. I must be dreaming. Shout out. Thank you so much, Sleater. All right, as we wrap up, just quickly, Jed's wearing it, so I want to shout it out because I know you also put a lot of work into this. Luke, look at this. This is the Morning Kombat shop here. There's some new drops here. I love the Super Wash Dads autograph poster situation here. Love the
I want to
design.
point out, Dennis, because I know Luke was on your show and it says sold out for you. It's because you're in Australia. So the posters only ship to the US. I just wanted to know there's still plenty left.
Oh, okay. There's more. The vaping is for closers. Morning Kombat Beavis and Butthead tee. I'm going to grab that. I love that design. And of course, the OG Boyfriend of the Year.
Yeah,
we got him on the show right now. There's the Jed exclusive there. Donk tea, which I love. All the stuff. Look at that. The Margaritas cup. It's all there. Dude, congratulations on all the merch. I love it. You guys are killing it.
Appreciate it, dude.
And of course, my main card minute. That's going to be back this coming weekend. You guys are going to be breaking down this card, so make sure to follow them. They're going to be in the description below. And Jed, for you MMA fighting, what's happening this week, my friend?
Oh, dude. The website's undergoing a major shift on Tuesday. So,
Oh no, what does that mean?
Like
they just take it down and then it's like, sorry, everyone's fired. Like a major
no,
shift,
our back end has changed on Tuesday. So the layout of all SB Nation and Vox Media stuff is shifting. There are some cool things coming as a result of it, but if you are a frequenter of MMAfighting.com, you've probably already seen like there's a pop-up banner that comes, says by Tuesday, shit's changing. It's changing. I think it'll be cool, but that's gonna be it's gonna be very different than what you've previously been experiencing as an MMA fighting reader. So log in on Tuesday and see what's new.
Dude, that's
and then
exciting.
I guess we're covering this fight card.
Breaking
that's
news.
bad.
That's a bit of breaking news there. That's exciting.
Breaking news.
MMA fighting going out of business on Tuesday. No kidding. You open it and it's just some other website.
Not yet, but you never know.
Nah, dude. We're all dead. We're all dead in the water. This is the MMA space, guys. Thank you for joining me here on Submission Radio. Who knows? Maybe by Tuesday, Submission Radio will just be submission.com.au, which is a different kind of website. I am Dennis Corrado. There he is. There's Long Island Luke, my friend Jed with a haircut. We will see you guys next time. Thank you for joining us here on Submission Radio. We out, boys. We're still live, but we're out. We're still live, but we're out. I pressed the wrong button.